Microtransactions have always been a problem. It's nothing new to talk about, all the way from the point in which we got horse armor that people paid for, and the fact that people did pay for it is even more annoying to think about, and it just kind of makes me more and more angry no matter what, to think about what has now happened to the industry as a result. So it's at least nice to see that the director of Split Fiction and It Takes Two, Joesph Fares, making an incredible statement. I think it's a huge problem and it's stopping our industry from a creative perspective. Microtransactions negatively affect game design, Joesph Fares believes. And before I kind of go into the details while talking about, Joesph Fares, the games that he's made, and also just the idea of microtransactions within the gaming industry, it's worth keeping in mind that microtransactions create a completely different win condition when it comes to making games. Instead of making games because it's a good game or wanting people to enjoy, stick around and play those games, the main idea that you're trying to now pull is to make more money. So then we get evolutions in forms of things like loot boxes, then with stuff like Overwatch 1 for example. Then we have stuff like the gacha games that we have on the console space. If the entire goal wasn't to make money, then we may not necessarily be in the situation that we are in now. But who knows? Microtransactions have certainly changed things up in a way that does not really benefit us as players, but rather benefits the companies that are trying to partake in it, albeit in a negative way. And now, with more and more games flooding the market, it's now becoming harder and harder for those games to make money as a result. But let's talk about microtransactions in video games and also Joesph Fares. So Joesph Fares has doubled down once more on his hatred of microtransactions in games, explaining that they're the kind of shits that affect game design and not in a good way. So Fares proclaimed that there would be no loot boxes, no microtransactions, no bullshit. That's basically when he announced Split Fiction. And if I remember right, Split Fiction was shown off at the Game Awards last year in 2024. So it's only been like a few short months and the game's already out, I think, or is going to come out in the next couple of days from me recording this. But basically, yeah, it's something that he's kind of reiterated on, having told MinMax Studio that the studio will never have microtransactions in its games. Now he's elaborated a bit further in reacting to YouTube comments via Fall Damage, explaining that he thinks microtransactions are a huge problem for the game industry, responding to one comment praising his no loot boxes, no microtransactions, no bullshit line as words to live by. Fares says, "Of course, and that goes for everything we do at Hazelight." I think those kind of shits affects the design of how the game should be done. He continues, every time you make a design decision made based on making more money in the game, I think it's a huge problem and it's stopping our industry from a creative perspective, because you're not making the game for a creative purpose, you're making it for a monetary reward perspective instead, and that's why you're completely missing the point. Because the thing is, art is always well and good, and you can call gaming art as much as you like, but any form of art that is tainted with money becomes a lot harder to deal with or even begin to appreciate. I feel like I don't know if you guys remember this. There was this art piece that had just a banana on a sign or a banana on a wall. Let's see, what was it? It was like a banana art piece. Now, here we go. Yes. The Comedian, which is basically just a banana on a wall. And people thought that this was the greatest thing in the world. And I think it was sold for a hell of a lot. Did the banana sell for $6.2 million? Yeah, so basically this banana as art sells for $6.2 million. And this art is called Comedian. It says $120,000 here, but that was a guess at the time. Again, this is just a quick Google search, but basically the idea is that this banana sold for $6.2 million. Bananas go bad over time, mind you, and obviously, since this artwork in massively bleeding sarcasm quotes has anything to go about it, is that you can find value in anything because any idiot can find any value in anything. The value of something only exists as the people who look at it. So if you make something so god awful yet people are willing to buy it, means that even that thing that is absolutely rubbish still has some amount of value in it. That thing that lacks quality in any way, shape, or form still has some form of value. And as a result, because it's worth value, means that people can sell it for an insane amount of money. And that's where microtransactions come in, because people see value in microtransactions and they find something in it. But the thing is that the stuff that we were getting from microtransactions now is stuff that we were getting in games to begin with, no matter what. And I hate the idea of it. I hate the idea of that altogether, is that as soon as you put monetary value on small bits and pieces here and there, eventually the creativity of whatever was created behind the thing completely erodes. Imagine the fact that we were looking at art pieces. So I looked at a banana just now, but keeping in mind that, you know, you had art pieces like, say, for example, American Gothic or Girl with the Pearl Earring. Imagine how much time and effort it would have taken to create those art pieces compared to just taping a banana to a wall. That is the equivalency that I'm kind of looking at in terms of when money is involved for the sake of making money rather than creating art in order for a creative purpose. Purposes are completely different when eroded by money, but that's just kind of my thoughts on this whole kind of situation. And I am creatively I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about it as well, because I hate microtransactions. I was planning on making a video on the history of microtransactions, how it kind of has evolved and adapted across different games, from things like when, you know, not Konami, Capcom was doing the on-disc DLC, which defeated the purpose of DLC to begin with, because DLC was referred to as downloadable content. But if the content is already on the disc and we're buying a disc, then do we not already own the content that is already on the disc effectively? That is not an argument you'll see now, because it's harder to get physical media than it ever was in the past. But anyway, that was just kind of my thoughts on the whole deal, and I could go on a full-on soapbox rant about how much I hate the all digital future, and also the idea of DLC as a whole, downloadable content, microtransactions, and each and everything else in between, whether it be season passes, battle passes, loot boxes, just everything. But anyway, with all that being said, however, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year, and with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.